I've noticed that my clients all come to me ambitious, hardworking, and with amazing ideas, but have no momentum and are also frazzled and are sometimes burned out, thinking they need a new strategy or tactic to boost momentum. But really, the problem is this: the day-to-day is not as delicious as it could be, and it's sucking the flavor out of their beautiful life. Our lives, my friend, are the fuel that makes our business and everything else flow. It's time to live larger than you currently think possible right now. You are listening to the Thriving Empire Podcast, a show designed exclusively to help you avoid working 24/7, to help you eliminate overwhelm, and help you live your ultimate life while you figure out how to make money from your ideas. This show should be your number one resource for no-brainer strategies, tactics, and tips for launching your ideas with more ease, vision, and freedom so that you can change the world drama-free. I'm your host, Stephanie Holland, strategist, traveler, and coconut macaroon addict. Welcome to Season 2, Kickstart Your Mini Empire so that you can create the life you really want. So let's get started. Well, hey there, how are you? I'm sitting on the deck right here. I'm drinking Genmai Cha, which, if you don't know, is Japanese popcorn tea, and it's my absolute favorite green tea in the world. I'm scripting out some episodes for you. I've got an ocean view and a palm tree view. I actually came over to Guatemala in February this year, and I found a new beach, a turquoise house to live in, and a dog who needed some love. So I've kind of got the whole kit and caboodle now. It's really cool. I created a new reality. So when people tell me I'm lucky, I holler back, luck has nothing to do with it. And they look at me kind of like, what is she talking about? And then I go on this big rant about how I created my life on purpose. Now, what I try to do is I create a new reality every 6 months or so. I try to give myself a fresh boost of energy and flow in my life and work. And it's really simple. All I do is I decide what I want to experience next, what qualities I want to develop, what skills or knowledge I want to master, what offers I want to create for my audience, what consulting clients I want to work with, literally who are the people I want to spend my time with, where I want to live, what is important in my life and work right now, and then I make it happen. Now, you've heard of this before. It's called lifestyle design, and it's really easy to do, regardless of your current circumstances, because it just involves free will, which you have within you all the time. And this is how you do it. You envision what you want, you decide exactly what it looks like, you commit to that vision, and then you take action. And that's it, those 4 simple steps. Now, lifestyle design has become such a cliche for some that it shades them from the possibility that you can actually design your life exactly how you want it and start living it now to whatever degree possible. Now, to some, it seems like a millennial indulgence. By the way, I'm not a millennial, I'm 42. Now, to others, it seems like a startup cliche, this whole idea of being a digital nomad. But just because some people want to blog from cafes around the world and drink fresh coconut water every day doesn't mean the concept isn't real and possible for you. Actually, the shape, format, and form are limited only by your imagination. So I really believe that if you take the time to envision the life you really want, the one that really excites the crap out of you, and you really brainstorm how to get as close to that as possible right now, then you're actually only ever a few steps away from living the full dream. So whether you start a business or not, this is possible for you. Whether your products and services sell or not, whether you make 6 figures or not, whether you get 100,000 followers on Instagram, or whether you get featured in the latest cool blog like Design Sponge or even on Forbes, all of this is possible for you if you take the time to envision it and make it happen. And yet, funnily enough, the biggest irony of our startup culture is that those brave enough to quit their job or start a side hustle and launch their ideas in order to live and work on their own terms and create more freedom in their life and work, they don't fully seize the opportunity to do so. In fact, for 90% of people who actually start a business, the startup idea concept becomes a full stop for their life, which is really bizarre. Now, listen, okay, I say full stop. I was trying to coin a cool new term here, but help me out if you can. I was thinking life stop, stop up. It's basically the idea that a lot of people, when we start up, we end up working 24/7 and everything else stops. So I'm really trying to convey that even though we want to launch your ideas, what ends up happening is a full stop to the rest of our life. So email me your ideas if you have a phrase or word to describe that concept, Stephanie@stephanieholland.co, so that I can start speaking about that concept more eloquently. That would be very cool. So granted, I did have a head start in life design from an early age. I lived in 5 countries before I was 11 because of my father's work. And I saw my parents as conscious creators of our destiny, treating me and my sisters as co-conspirators in manifesting our reality. In truth, they were actually responding to an invitation to relocate for a corporate objective. I get that now. But they always sold it to their kids, to me and my sister, as new life adventures, painting a picture of the food, the people, and the activities that would add flavor to our day to day. Now, I just continued that adventure as an adult, even though they were living against a corporate objective. I saw it in a different way, and the way I saw it became the way that I lived it. But my sister didn't follow that adventure. She was drawn to a sense of stability through friendship, community, legal partnership, raising her own family, and a house. She really savors the life of marriage, mortgage, and kids, which is still the most popular path in the Western world, despite all of the opportunities on offer, which is actually proof that a life of extreme reinvention, reimagination, and adventure isn't what everyone wants, and that is totally okay. But there is a spectrum, and you can be anywhere on it. You can reinvent yourself from the suburbs. You can reimagine your life without starting a business. You can create adventure in your backyard. But for me personally, it was about experiencing all life has to offer. It was what travel gave me access to in that sense. So for me, it was about selecting from a limitless menu and sampling as many flavors as possible in as many climates, hemispheres, cultures, and language. And travel was the gateway to all of that. So this is what fuels my work and drives everything I do. But my maxim is this: thrive first, build your empire second. So today I'm sharing some tips on how to live your dream life right now, how to reframe this idea of lifestyle design so that you can bring more flow to your life and work, so that you can live larger right now to whatever degree you are capable, and use it as fuel to proactively shape your future, whatever it is that you want in your future. So step 1 is this: decide who you want to become. Decide who you want to become. Now, while we're focused on making money and having an impact, actually, the most interesting and rewarding part of starting a business goes overlooked. I think we really underestimate how much we grow personally as a result of making, creating, and unleashing the products of our imagination into the world, regardless of commercial success. We change regardless of whatever happens outside of us. Now, as a result of being more creative and more courageous, we become more creative and more courageous. It's like a kind of like self-fulfilling circle. It's amazing. And we naturally begin to embody more skills, qualities, and characteristics on the way. So launching our ideas is a process of becoming more of who we are. So if we're already becoming more of who we are, why not decide on that more of who we are? So I call this having a future focus, because we get to decide who we become. So I love sitting down and brainstorming the qualities I want to embody at some point in the future. So I usually use a time frame of about 3 years because it's really close, but it's also far enough away to allow these things to unfold without urgency, because I find that urgency kills the quality of experience that we're having in our life and work and creates burnout. I really love to imagine what I've accomplished and what I've achieved at some point in the future. So these two things are different, by the way: accomplish and achieve. I put these things on a worksheet for my client and they go, "What? Aren't they the same thing?" Well, no. So accomplish is about achieving or completing something. So some kind of output, like a qualification or a blog post, something you create and unleash into the world. And achieving is about, yes, successfully bringing about those things into the world through some kind of effort, skill, or courage. So more the softer qualities that you gain. So I like to imagine how achieving and accomplishing certain things will make me feel, and I like to envision what I've overcome in order to achieve or accomplish them. So sort of preempting my excuses and challenges and tackling them head on through the qualities and characteristics that I embody. So how does this work to help you live your future life right now? How does this help you design your life? Well, becoming future focused shifts your attention to ideas and opportunities that you would never have previously noticed or considered. You notice different people, events, and books, or you draw them towards you. You're naturally drawn to different conversations, teachers, and mentors, and your meerkat brain is looking out for invitations and creating new circumstances without you even realizing it. So I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I felt in my bones that video was my future. I wasn't really sure how, but I knew that when my in-person energy inspired others, massive perspective shifts happen and massive, they ended up taking massive action. Whereas opposed to that, my writing, when people read my blog posts or even my books, it didn't have that same impact. But I really envisioned myself confidently hosting some kind of video show, connecting with my peers in that way, empowering my audience to launch their ideas, and using it as a way to deliver as an experience of working with me before even working with me, and all while I was living in 3 different beach locations every year. Then, because I was focused on this vision, I noticed an offer from a fellow business school peer to be a beta tester on her Facebook Live training course. I became a star student, I practiced like a pro, and I launched my training course that month. Sorry, I launched my show that month. But because I was already living the beach life, internet speeds weren't really high enough, and my shows experienced a lot of interruptions, making it very stressful. So I had to quit my Facebook live show, but I'd become confident at sharing my ideas live and publicly and interviewing people and creating a process and system for efficiency and effectiveness. And now I use these skills to power my podcast. So I'm now in season 2 of the podcast, and I really consider myself an efficient and effective podcast producer, delivering my strategies, tips, and advice right into your earbuds every week and helping you get results even before you ever work with me. So I use my video confidence as part of my content distribution plan on Instagram and LinkedIn, where I publish a video once a week. So that's been the way that it has fueled my podcast in that sense. So really I achieved my personal goals and accomplished my business goals, but through a slightly different medium than I originally thought. But the future focused pushed me forward and got me here, which is really cool. So, who do you want to be in the future? Who do you want to become? What do you want to become capable of? What have you overcome to accomplish it or achieve it? And what did you have to do? What did you have to overcome? So, who do you want to be in the future? Who do you want to become? What have you overcome to achieve and accomplish it? It's really exciting to think about what are the skills, characteristics, and qualities have you embodied to get to that future place, and then consciously cultivate them. So step 2 is about creating a concise vision for your life and really feel it in your bones. Now, you may have read about vision boards, etc., as a way to bring your vision to life. But envisioning your life vision isn't enough. It really has to excite the crap out of you. And you really have to practice feeling this excitement at least twice a day. I recommend reading it morning and evening, if not more. And use this feeling to get as close as possible to the reality right now. So once you have this vision, you can start asking, okay, I'm really excited, but how do I create it? So when you read it, you kind of use it as a meditation to go, okay, I feel it in my bones. I'm really excited about it, and use that as a motivation to ask, how do I create it, and start answering that question. So starting your own business isn't always the answer for creating the life you want. So why do so many people think that it is? I actually think that this is the reason 90% of startups fail, because starting a business is often the wrong answer to the life we want to create. So before starting a business, or even if you're within 3 years and, feeling overwhelmed by it, ask yourself, Do I really want to work for myself? Do I really want to be my own boss? Do I really want to make and create products and sell them on autopilot? Do I want to sell them? Do I want to consciously work on sales and marketing all the time? Do I really want to build a business around my passion or expertise? Or do I just want more freedom? Because if you want more freedom, you could go part-time. You could snag a remote opportunity with a virtual company or a startup. You could get a job in the travel industry or start travel writing or work for a travel magazine or get a regional or global role at a multinational company. If you want to travel more per se, you could just take a sabbatical, go traveling, take a career break, go traveling. Also get a remote role with a forward-thinking startup so that you can work from wherever. If you want to do something good, you could volunteer for a nonprofit or work for a nonprofit as a proper job, or get a job with a social enterprise. If you want more variety, you could start a new hobby. What if you always wanted to do? You could join clubs, you could go to workshops, you could start dragon boat racing, or get fit, or meet more people, or just get curious and start asking questions about yourself and others that guide you to new activities. You could get transferred abroad. You could give yourself a dare every week and follow those breadcrumbs. If you want a more simple life, you could research minimalism and start living as a minimalist. You could delete your digital subscriptions so you could have more time for super thinking. You could read more, or you could just decide on the 3 things you want to do, experience, and master, and focus on them. You could spend more time in nature or start meditating. There are so many ways to live your future life right now. The answer is not always starting your business. Generally, the way most of us the way most of us start a business is not necessarily the way to get any of these things when we first start, especially if we don't have funds, and especially if we're accountable to investors. Starting a business can limit our freedom, inhibit our travel. It can make us feel bad or sleazy, especially if we have a hang-up about sales and marketing being evil, as I first did coming out of the sales and marketing industry. And it could eliminate your work-life balance and really complicate even your personal life. Now, this is the realization that so many of us come to very quickly when we first start up, and the culture that characterizes burnout, because there's a lot to do and a lot to learn and a lot of distractions and bad advice out there. You probably know that already. And that's exactly how my clients, and actually how I myself also, went straight from the frying pan of life into the fire of starting up in the blink of an eye and find ourselves burnt out really quickly. But if you start with the vision you have for your life, that vision will give you clues as to how to create that life. So starting a business should help you create and sustain the life you want. But you have to know this: there are limitless ways to create and sustain the life that you want, and starting your own business is only one of them. And often, for many of us, it is not the right one. Now, one of my first product ideas was a book. I wanted to make something, create something, do something different, but I wasn't sure what. So how was I going to make this something happen that I didn't even know what it was? All I did was I got up an hour earlier every morning. I brainstormed ideas with pen and paper, often on my commute, sitting on the train from Wimbledon to central London. And it was just a stream of consciousness at the time. And then I spent an hour in Store Street Espresso in Fitzrovia before work, doing the same, more and more brainstorming. And then one day on the train, an idea came to me. What connected all the people I admired? Passion, purpose, and vision. Now that became a book idea. It's now called Absolutely on Purpose. It's available on Amazon if you want to check it out. But then I spent 3 months writing the book plan at the cafe. When I was done, I kind of thought, okay, I want to travel now. I want to explore new places. I want to find a new place to live, be somewhere warm, not worry about money while I write this book. I really want to figure out how to write, first of all, and then how to self-publish a book. So I thought, how can I make this happen? But I was living in London. I was working as a strategist at AOL Huffington Post, and I had to ask, how am I going to do this? London's very expensive. It's not just a place where you can just quit your job and start writing a book willy-nilly. So what I did was I finished my contract. I was covering someone else's maternity leave at the time, and I flew to Mexico, where I spent the next 14 months traveling and project managing 49 contributors to my book project. And once again, it's called Absolutely on Purpose. Cool title, huh? So back then, starting a business wasn't the answer to the life I wanted. Writing a book was. And really, that project gave me a reason to create the life that I wanted right then and there. It really was a catalyst to moving to Mexico and finding this new place to live, where I've now been for about 8 years. So what project, activity, or experience will help you create your future life right now? Is it a business or is it something else? Now, when I first start working with my clients, we go back to the part they usually skipped, their life vision. Because if you can't leverage business as a tool to create the life you want right now, do you still want to start it? This is the question you must truthfully answer either before you start your business or when you're experiencing overwhelm and burnout and wondering whether to continue, or just whether you're within 3 years and still going around in circles and not getting the momentum that you hoped for. So envision the life you really want. Articulate it clearly and passionately in less than 500 words. It will help you generate the answer you need to start living your future life right now, whether you start a business or not. So bring back the fun and flow and flavor into your beautiful life. Make it delicious, and it will nourish your growing business, if that is business is the right answer for you. Now, if you have the podcast study pack, crack open worksheet 1.1 to create your future focus and life vision right now. Now, if you don't have the podcast study pack, you can grab your copy at stephanieholland.co/29. You'll get a worksheet for each episode so that you have extra incentive to integrate the lessons into your life and work ASAP, and a masterclass lesson on how to cultivate a healthy tech life, and a ton of other resources that I don't share anywhere else. It's a steal at $27. And if you don't want to invest in the study pack, but you love the show and you want to support it, you can just buy me a coffee instead if you like. Just head over to the show notes at stephanieholland.co/29, and you'll find a little buy me a coffee button in the sidebar or at the bottom of the blog post. This will help me stay ad-free and caffeinated so that I can keep creating the best content for you. I have loved creating this episode for you. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Have a beautiful week. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you being here. Remember, you can get the podcast pack for season 2 by heading over to stephanieholland.co/podcast pack 2. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or inquiries, the best way to reach me is to DM me on Instagram via @StephTHolland, or head over to my website, stephanieholland.co, and hit up my contact form on the bottom right of the page. Your feedback points me in the right direction, so don't hesitate to get in touch. And if you enjoy the show, it would be so cool if you could rate, review, or subscribe. And if you do end up writing a review on your favorite podcasting platform and you want to pick my brain, simply send me a screenshot of your review and I'll jump on a 15-minute messenger chat with you. I've got almost 2 decades of experience in digital media and marketing strategy for the world's most formidable brands and business strategy for startups and people with awesome ideas. I'm here to help you create a rock-solid foundation for your ideas and to share simple tips for eliminating overwhelm and burnout and becoming more organized and visionary in your life and work. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and thank you again for supporting the show.